in my heart, I want an opportunity to face Danny Swift Garcia. Look, let me put it this way, right? Guerrero, father-son combination, got rid of him. Kenny Porter, Sean Porter, father-son combination, got rid of him. Okay? If you're a daddy's boy, come see me, boy. All right? Come on, man. Come on, man. I got this.
Well, it didn't take long for Danny Garcia to clap back with Keith Thurman at ringside for Garcia's fight against Samuel Vargas. Things got heated between the two undefeated 147-pounders. Now, this is more like it, guys. March 4th can't come soon enough. Keith Thurman versus Sean Porter, and now Keith Thurman versus Danny Garcia, the best fighting the best, Al.
Yeah, we're so looking forward to this fight. And the interesting thing is, it's going to be a little different than the fight we just saw. You know, Sean Porter comes at you like a whirlwind, and Keith Thurman had to kind of fight him and figure out a way to hold that storm at bay. Danny Garcia is a different kind of fighter, very effective, of course, but he's the kind of fighter who might want to counter a little bit more. He's certainly not going to be rush in to try and get you the way that Porter would. So Keith Thurman might be the one required to make this fight a little bit more than he did, but it's a fascinating matchup on many levels.
What are some of the underappreciated attributes of Thurman and Garcia, Paulie?
I think they both have some unappreciated attributes. You know, first of all, with Thurman, you know, he's known as one time, so he's the big puncher. But at day's end, people don't realize this guy's a pretty good boxer. He's got a lot of athleticism. This kid has very good legs. He knows how to shift from left to right. Good bounce to him, good rhythm to him. When he's not knocking guys out, he's actually doing a lot of other things really well. And that, you know, maybe that should be appreciated as well because it's effective. He knows how to win by other methods besides the KO punch, besides that one time. Danny Garcia probably is a very underappreciated fighter at this point in time because people kind of seem to forget very fast how he came up the ladder. You know, this is a kid that came up the ladder fighting a lot of tough prospects, or even so-called faded journeymen that maybe weren't so faded, guys that were at one time had been pretty good names. I remember looking at him as a prospect and thinking, man, they're really not going the easy route with this guy. Danny is a guy who's going to come into this fight knowing he's done this before. I've been a heavy underdog before, and I've done it, and he kind of knows he's not foreign to this kind of situation. He kind of knows how to handle it now, and he knows he can succeed at this situation.
Al, I'm wondering, the criticism, though, and you listen to the Paulie, you hear the road that Danny Garcia took, and yet he has been subjected to criticism for his choice of opposition since moving up to welterweight. Is it warranted?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. He hasn't yet proven himself as a 147-pounder in some people's eyes. With a win here, he could cement himself as the top dog in the welterweight division.
Well, Paulie, right now, the belle of the ball is Keith Thurman after the win over Sean Porter. I know you don't take the critics kindly either because you were in the ring. What do you think about the criticism, the Cherry Garcia, as some people like to say, because of his opposition? Is that fair?
I think if you fight top destroyers every single fight, you're going to have a short career, regardless. You know, if you want to see these guys lasting, you know, they're going to face top guys all the time, but they're not always going to face the guy. These fights, as long as they eventually happen, that's all that counts. And Danny Garcia has made these fights happen time and again. You just got to be patient with the guy. He's now a welterweight, and now he's in the moment where he's got to try and prove his legitimacy as a welterweight.
Al, what's the biggest key ahead of this fight for each of them?
Well, I think for Danny Garcia, it's a question of not getting hit with the big power punch by Keith Thurman because Thurman is a huge puncher, and his ability to control the tempo of this fight, maybe land some really good counter punches. And I think Keith Thurman's going to have to maybe pick up the pace a little bit in this fight and be the aggressor and pave the way with his jab and then throw those big combinations, which would include, in my opinion, really good right hands, which is the punch you can hit Garcia with.
Well, we cannot wait. March 4th can't come soon enough as two undefeated 147 world-class fighters go at it. It'll be Keith Thurman against Danny Garcia, another mega showdown in the welterweight division.